great demon. Exactly as one cures a chronic disease. Rikinnara uchu. Vayamisha kinnaraganastavānuga diti jena vishtim amunarun. Murak. Vayamisha kinnaraganastavānuga diti jena vishtim amanunha. Nukaritaha bhavata haresa vrijino vasadito harshinga nata vibhavaya no bhava. The Kinnaras said, O Supreme Controller, we are ever-existing servants of your Lordship, but instead of rendering service to you, we were engaged by this demon in his service, constantly and without remuneration. This sinful man has now been killed by you. Therefore, O Lord Nishingadeva, our Master, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Please continue to be our patron. Shri Vishnu Prahlāda Uchuhu Adhyaitadhari Naranurupam Adbhutam Te Rishtam Na Sharanada Sarvaloka Sharma Soyam Te Vidikara Ipsha Vipra Shaptas Asidam Nidanam Anugrahaya Vidmaha. The associates of Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha offered this prayer. O Lord, our supreme giver of shelter, today we have seen your wonderful form as Lord Nishingadev, meant for the good fortune of all the world. O Lord, we can understand that Hiranyakashipu was the same Jaya who engaged in your service, but was cursed by Brahmanas and would thus receive the body of a demon. We understand that his having now been killed, so special mercy upon him. Prabhupada Hiranyakashipu was coming to this earth and acting as the Lord's enemy was prearranged. Jaya and Vijaya were cursed by the Brahmanas Sanaka, Sanat Kumara, Sanandan, and Sanatana, because Jaya and Vijaya checked these four Kumaras. The Lord accepted, checked in the sense blocked. The Lord accepted this cursing of his servants and agreed that they would have to go to the material world and would then return to Vaikuntha after serving the term of the curse. Jaya and Vijaya were very much perturbed, but the Lord advised them to act as enemies, for then they would return after 3 births. Otherwise, ordinarily, they would have to take 7 births. With this authority, Jaya and Vijaya act as the Lord's enemy. And now that these two were dead, all the Vishnu Dutas understood that the Lord's killing of Hiranyakashipu was special mercy bestowed upon them. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 7th canto, 8th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Nishingadeva slays the king of the demons. Now, this verse, it's different than all the other verses in different ways. First of all, it brings a conclusion that these were Jaya and Vijaya, they were associates. In other words, they were the brothers of the persons who were talking, no? The Vishnu Parshad, Parshad means associates. So they were their people and they knew it. And I don't think anybody else had mentioned that. Maybe they didn't know. Obviously, they might have, maybe a few might know, but I don't know. It doesn't show that everybody knew, at least that. Second thing is that these associates of Vishnu enjoy seeing Nishingadev. They don't see Vishnu often in that form. Or I don't know if they saw him in another creation, but certainly it's not a common form. So definitely they are enjoying a special darshan. And the third thing is that they were not influenced by Hiranyakashipu. So while practically everybody else said, oh, he did this to me, this to us, he stopped the sacrifice, he stole the oblations, and then he forced us to serve, and this and that. Everybody was kind of obviously very much affected by this great demon. Prahlāda, the associates of Vishnu, were not. So they were not getting, we say, a material benefit. So it's interesting that this verse, which explains the ontology of who was Hiranyakashipu, actually concludes this chapter. And I find it interesting, Srila Prabhupada say, ordinarily, Jam Vijay, they would have to take 7 birds. The Lord advised them to act as enemies, for they would return after 3 birds. Now, I don't remember this in the details of the 3rd canto. Maybe Srila Prabhupada was referring very often without quoting directly. He refers to some acharyas who quote some other Purana, and so we take it obviously as bona fide. But we don't know exactly what this means, meaning what does it mean that ordinarily they should have taken 7 birds? Anyway, any comments?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. What does it mean ordinarily?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure because Srila Prabhupada does not really make an elaboration. I don't know, 7 lifetimes. It's a kind of a common thing, right? One should know 7 lifetimes of.
Yeah, let's say, Saptapadi in marriage also.
Yeah.
7 lives you'll be together with the same partner.
And also, I believe this, they say, like in Bharadwaj Samhita, Brahmana should know 7 previous generations, right, to be considered very high class. I think it's 7, right? Anyway, yeah. So it seems to be like a standard measurement, but here we talk about curse. I don't know. Hare Krishna.
In some versions, like movies and all, they show that the Jaya and Vijaya had 2 options: 7 lifetimes as devotees or 3 lifetimes as enemies, and they chose it.
They don't say also 6 and 3?
No, 7 and 3.
Anyway, so yeah, it's probably, I'm certainly, because Srila Prabhupada mentioned, must be in some other Purana. See, what happened is this, that different Puranas also describe different stories. I mean, the same story in slightly different way. For instance, I read the scholar was saying how the story of Prahlāda in the Bhagavatam, Prahlāda is much more ecstatic in his symptoms of devotion than in another Purana he was quoting. So, and of course, we take the Bhagavatam as the highest, because it's Paramahamsa Samhita. It is spoken by Shukadeva Goswami and many other reasons.
So, maybe Narasimha Purana or something like that. Maybe they emphasize more. Maybe they emphasize more on the Lord like that, and Bhagavatam is emphasizing more the devotion and the devotee aspect more, maybe.
Well, I mean, the Lord speaks when this curse takes the 3rd canto. He speaks to the Kumaras and so on. So it's not that he doesn't say anything. So he certainly was conscious of the curse, even apologized to the sages. Sorry, my servants stopped you. But it could be in some other, I mean, probably if we Google it, Jai Vijay, 7 lives, we may find, it could be Nishinga Purana, it could be some other Purana, Padma Purana, Vishnu Purana. Because these stories are presented again and again with sometimes slight different in emphasis and details. Okay, should we move to the next?
Yeah.
You want to read? So
Yeah.
now we have the prayers of Prahlāda. Now we heard the prayers of so many other groups, and now we have the prayers of Prahlāda.
Okay, Prahlāda pacifies Lord Nrsingadeva with
I
prayer.
stop. You share so I can
Okay.
prepare work on the poster.
Mhm. Chapter 9, right? Yes. Chapter 9. Prahlāda pacifies Lord Nrsimhadeva with prayers. As related in this chapter, Prahlāda Maharaj, following the order of Lord Brahma, pacified the Lord when the Lord was extremely angry after having killed Hiranyakashipu. After Hiranyakashipu was killed, the Lord continued to be very angry, and the demigods headed by Lord Brahma could not pacify him. Even Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, the constant companion of Narayan, could not dare come before Lord Nrsimhadeva. Then Lord Brahma asked Prahlāda Maharaj to go forward and pacify the Lord's anger. Prahlāda Maharaj, being confident of the affection of his master, Lord Nrsimhadeva, was not afraid at all. He very gravely appeared before the Lord's lotus feet and offered him respectful obeisances. Lord Nrsimhadeva, being very much affectionate toward Prahlāda, put his hand on Prahlāda's head, and because of being personally touched by the Lord, Prahlāda Maharaj immediately achieved Brahma Jnana, spiritual knowledge. Thus, he offered his prayers to the Lord in full spiritual knowledge and full devotional ecstasy. The instructions given by Prahlāda Maharaj in the form of his prayers are as follows. Prahlāda said, I am not proud of being able to offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I simply take shelter of the mercy of the Lord, for without devotion one cannot appease him. One cannot please the Supreme Personality of Godhead simply by dint of high parentage or great opulence, learning, austerity, penance, or mystic power. Indeed, these are never pleasing to the Supreme Lord, for nothing can please him but pure devotional service. Even if a non-devotee is a Brahmana qualified with the 12 Brahmanical symptoms, he cannot be very dear to the Lord. Whereas if a person born in a family of dog-eaters is a devotee, the Lord can accept his prayers. The Lord does not need anyone's prayers. But if a devotee offers his prayers to the Lord, the devotee benefits greatly. Ignorant persons born in low families, therefore, can sincerely offer heartfelt prayers to the Lord, and the Lord will accept them. As soon as one offers his prayers to the Lord, he is immediately situated on the Brahman platform. Lord Nrsimhadeva appeared for the benefit of all human society, not only for Prahlāda's personal benefit. The fierce form of Lord Nrsimhadeva may appear most awful to a non-devotee, but to the devotee the Lord is always affectionate, as he is in other forms. Conditioned life in this material world is actually extremely fearful. Indeed, a devotee is not afraid of anything else. Fear of material existence is due to false ego. Therefore, the ultimate goal of life for every living entity is to attain the position of being a servant of the Lord. The miserable condition of living entities in the material world can be remedied only by the mercy of the Lord. Although there are so-called material protectors like Lord Brahma and the other demigods or even one's own father, they are unable to do anything if one is neglected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, one who has fully taken shelter of the Lord's lotus feet can be saved from the onslaught of material nature. Therefore, every living entity should be unattracted by material so-called happiness and should take shelter of the Lord by all means. That is the mission of human life. To be attracted by sense gratification is simply foolish. Whether one is a devotee of the Lord or is a non-devotee does not depend upon one's birth in a high or low family. Even Lord Brahma and the goddess of fortune cannot achieve the full favor of the Lord, whereas a devotee can very easily attain such devotional service. The Lord's mercy is bestowed equally upon everyone, regardless of whether one is high or low. Because Prahlāda Maharaj was blessed by Narad Muni, Prahlāda became a great devotee. The Lord always saves the devotee from impersonalists and voidists. The Lord is present in everyone's heart as the super soul to give the living being protection and all benefits. Thus, the Lord acts sometimes as the killer and sometimes as the protector. One should not accuse the Lord of any discrepancies. It is His plan that we see varieties of life within this material world. All of them are ultimately His mercy. Although the entire cosmic manifestation is non-different, the material world is nonetheless different from the spiritual world. Only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord can one understand how the wonderful material nature acts. For example, although Lord Brahma appeared from the lotus seed that had grown from the abdomen of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he could not see what to do after his appearance. He was attacked by two demons, Madhu and Kaitava, who took away Vedic knowledge. But the Lord killed them and entrusted to Lord Brahma the Vedic knowledge. Thus the Lord appears in every millennium in the society of demigods, human beings, animals, saints, and aquatics. All such incarnations are meant to protect the devotees and kill the demons. But this killing and protecting does not reflect any sense of partiality on the part of the Supreme Lord. The conditioned soul is always attracted by the external energy. Therefore, he is subjected to lust and greed, and he suffers under the conditions of material nature. The Lord's causeless mercy toward his devotees is the only means by which to get out of this material existence. Anyone engaged in glorifying the Lord's activities is always unafraid of this material world, whereas one cannot glorify the Lord in that way is subjected to all lamentation. Means, what does it mean, whereas one who cannot glorify the Lord in that way? In that way means?
In that way, glorifying the Lord's activity.
Oh.
Anyone engaged in glorifying the Lord's activities is always unafraid of this material world. Whereas one who cannot glorify the Lord in that way is subjected to all lamentation.
Meaning it's not just glorification, right? It should be glorifying, or like anyone engaged in, I mean, many people are engaged in glorification of the Lord, right? But we are so afraid of material world. How do you understand this? Is this literal or is this just
Well, obviously, depends on the intensity and the regularity. It's not like Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. It is said that one who is Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, always, regularly, always daily or regularly study the Bhagavatam, Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So almost all abhadras, all anarthas are destroyed, but it has to do regularly. So glorification of the Lord. So many people in India, you say Jai Shri Krishna, or, in Bengal, even sometimes in the bus, some people say Jai Nitai. So that's also glorification of the Lord, of course. But obviously, Srila Prabhupada here refers to a certain degree of intensity, of knowledge, of regularity. So if one does that regularly, he understands that he feels, let's read, the conditioned soul is always attracted by external energy, therefore is subject to lust and greed, and he suffers under the conditional material nature. Our Lord's causeless mercy towards devotees, the only means by which to get out of material existence. So one who always glorifies the Lord knows that he will get out of material life. He has that faith because the spiritual master told him to do this. He or she is doing it, and she's not afraid of the material world in that sense. So sometimes the shastras, the acharya, speak in ways that sound contradictory, but they are not. Like, for instance, sometimes it's said the devotee sees this world as a place of happiness. In other words, you can see that the Lord is everywhere, so a devotee can be ecstatic in any conditions. Like Prahlāda Maharaj was ecstatic. We never see him disturbed or afraid or crying or depressed, although he was in a completely very, very heavy. He was in prison, he was tortured and so on. At least they attempted to torture and kill him. So he was not afraid. But sometimes it is said this world is a world of suffering. So if when the devotee focus on the world as a place of forgetfulness, then yes, this world is dukkhalayam shashvatam, everything is temporary, everything brings suffering. So both are true in their own context. So yes.
I conclude it saying, based on your sincerity and your intensity, then you'll be rewarded that much fearlessness. Because I see that a lot of devotees do Nityam Bhagavata Sevya, they chant their rounds, they live in the dham, but then they're filled with anxiety and they're filled with fears.
Fears of what?
All kinds of fears.
Well, this is a specific specific, not afraid of the material world. And this sentence comes after this explanation that the conditioned soul suffers in the condition of material nature because it's subjected to lust and greed. Okay, so if somebody is lusty, is always agitated. If somebody is greedy, is always in tension. Okay, but the devotee who, at a certain level, as you said, a certain caliber of glorification, a certain caliber of absorption glorifies the Lord, is free from that anxiety. And we see devotees who are like that, whatever, okay, Krishna is the controller, whatever happens, it's not afraid. Because what are we afraid of? We're afraid of pain. We are afraid of losing stuff. If one is not attached to that losing stuff, he's not afraid. And if somebody is not, he knows that everything is karma, it's not really afraid of pain, because you say, okay, whatever pain that will come, it will be a diminished version. And so it's not really afraid. Krishna will help me. Krishna, okay, may give some tests, but if he gives tests, he can also give the strength to overcome those tests. So I don't see so much problem. Obviously, it's not an automatic thing that, okay, one says, Jai Shri Krishna, and then, okay, it's done. Because, I glorify the Lord. I just said Jai Shri Krishna, or Jai Ram, Jai Shri Ram. Okay, now that's it. No, but then it takes a certain consciousness of this. But we can see that many devotees are not afraid of this world, and they're not afraid of death. They're not afraid because they know whatever Krishna would send is for my benefit. So why they should be afraid?
Okay.
Okay.
Those interested in silently worshipping the Lord in solitary places may be eligible for liberation themselves, but a pure devotee is always aggrieved to see others suffering. Therefore, not caring for his own liberation, he always engages in preaching by glorifying the Lord. Prahlāda Maharaj, therefore, had tried to deliver his class friends by preaching and had never remained silent. Although being silent, observing austerities and penances, learning the Vedic literature, undergoing ritualistic ceremonies, living in a solitary place, and performing japa and transcendental meditation are approved means of liberation, they are meant for non-devotees or for cheaters who want to live at the expense of others. A pure devotee, however, being freed from all such deceptive activities, is able to see the Lord face to face.
And by the way, we see our dear friend Lavanga face to face. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Madre.
Who is now also a very expert English speaker.
Jai. Yeah, face to face with Lavanga. Here it says Lord face to face. We can't hear her. I think her speaker is not working. Mute. Something is wrong. Because she's unmuted, but we can't hear her.
Well, if she has a message for us, she can put in the chat and we'll read it. Or comment.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My obeisances. Atayi Sridhara. I am Mirabai. My mom, she, as you know, she doesn't speak English, but we're here listening very happily to you.
Okay.
Where are you?
We're in Vrindavan.
In Vrindavan. Sorry.
So nice to have you join us.
Yeah, when my mom is here, she's gonna, we're gonna put the camera so you can see her.
Okay, thank you. So, I have a question here. So it says, this is very interesting. Although being silent, observing austerities and penances, learning the Vedic literature, undergoing ritualistic ceremonies, living in a solitary place, and performing japa and transcendental meditation are approved means of liberation. Why does it say they are meant for non-devotees or cheaters who want to live at the expense of others? Oh my God, that's quite heavy. What is it?
Because, I mean, obviously, we cannot take it like as an absolute statement that anybody sitting in a solitary place performing japa is a non-devotee or expense of others. But my understanding is that Srila Prabhupada puts it in comparison of Prahlāda Maharaj's preaching spirit. Because we'll see that, I think it's verse 44, that's an important verse, where he says specifically, I'm not interested to go to the Himalaya. But I'm interested to preach, to spread Krishna consciousness. So, I mean, it's a fact that it's really not the method for the followers of Lord Chaitanya. Now, if somebody is qualified and maybe for some time he will stay, in a secluded place, maybe reading and chanting. It's nothing wrong in principle, but it seems Srila Prabhupada, based on his many years of experience in India, he's writing this when he was 75, 76. So he had, even from the could say ordinary point of view, he was in India for 75 years seeing people, and he saw so many cheaters. So many people who wants to just live at the expense of others, or some people were just yogis and they're not devotees. So the yogis, not necessarily devotees. Or for cheaters want to live at the expense of others, people who show off. Look, I'm a great meditator. And so, so obviously we cannot take it 100% literally that everybody who is living in a solitary place and chanting japa, it's a non-devotee or a cheater. But there are enough of them that Srila Prabhupada makes this statement.
Okay. The atomic theory of the composition of the cosmic manifestation is not factual. The Lord is the cause of everything, and therefore he is the cause of this creation. One should therefore always engage in devotional service by offering respectful obeisances to the Lord, offering prayers, working for the Lord, worshipping the Lord in the temple, always remembering the Lord, and always hearing about his transcendental activities. Without these 6 kinds of activity, one cannot attain to devotional service. Prahlāda Maharaj thus offered his praise to the Supreme Lord, begging his mercy at every step. Lord Narasimhadeva was pacified by Prahlāda Maharaj's prayers and wanted to give him benedictions, by which Prahlāda could procure all kinds of material facilities. Prahlāda Maharaj, however, was not misled by the material facilities. Rather, He wanted to remain always a servant of the Lord.
Okay, I find it very interesting how such a long summary, Srila Prabhupada really gets into some of the points in quite detail. So there are 55 verses. It's a solid chapter, a very important chapter. I mean, some of these verses are very important, like you will recognize them.
Yeah.
So, should we start?
Srinarado vacha evam suradaya sarve brahmarudra purasarah nopaitum ashakan manyu samrabham
Sarambham.
Samrambham Sudurasadam. The great saint Narad Muni continued. The demigods headed by Lord Brahma, Shiva, and other demigods dared not to come forward before the Lord, who at that time was extremely angry. Purport. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung in his Prema Bhakti Chandrika, Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jane. Anger should be used to punish a demon who is envious of devotees. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, and Matsarya, lust, greed, anger, illusion, pride, and envy all have their proper use for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotee. A devotee of the Lord cannot tolerate blasphemy of the Lord or his other devotees, and the Lord also cannot tolerate blasphemy of a devotee. Thus, Lord Nrsimhadeva was so very angry that the great demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva and even the goddess of fortune, who is the Lord's constant companion, could not pacify him. Even after offering prayers of glorification and praise, no one was able to pacify the Lord in his anger. But because the Lord was willing to exhibit his affection for Prahlāda Maharaj, all the demigods and others present before the Lord pushed Prahlāda Maharaj forward to pacify him. Haribol, Lavanga Mataji. I can see her.
Krishna, por favor, acepta mis reverencias.
Hare Krishna.
Ya, Prabhuji. Estoy feliz de verlo. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Madre. Gracias por participar con nos.
Estoy encantada de saber más del tema que ustedes están intentando transmitir a todos nosotros. Muchas gracias.
Es una purificación para nosotros recitar el Bhagavatam, para todos.
Okay, we continue. Sakshat Shrihi Presita Devair Drishtva Tvam Mahadadbhutam Adrishta Shruta Purvatvat Sanopeyaya Shankita. The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Ji, was requested to go before the Lord by all the demigods present, who, because of fear, could not do so. But even when she had never seen such a wonderful and extraordinary form of the Lord,
Even she.
But even she had never seen such a wonderful and extraordinary form of the Lord, and thus she could not approach him. Purport. The Lord has unlimited forms and bodily features. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam. These are all situated in Vaikuntha. Yet, Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, being inspired by Leela Shakti, could not appreciate this unprecedented form of the Lord. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya recites the following verses from the Brahmanda Purana. Adrishta Shruta Purvatvad Annai Sadharanai Janai Nrisimham Sankiteva Shri Lokamohaya Noyayo Prahlāde Chaiva Vatsalya Darshanaya Harerapi Jnatva Manasa Tata Brahma Prahridam Preshayat Tada. Ekatraikasya vatsalyam visheshat darshayed dharihi avarasyapi mohaya kramenaivapi vatsalaha. In other words, for the common man, the form of the Lord as Nrsingadeva is certainly unseen and wonderful. But for a devotee like Prahlāda Maharaj, such a fearsome form of the Lord is not at all extraordinary. By the grace of the Lord, a devotee can very easily understand how the Lord appears in any form he likes. Therefore, the devotee is never afraid of such a form. Because of special favor bestowed upon Prahlāda Maharaj, he remains silent and unafraid, even though all the demigods, including even Lakshmi Devi, were afraid of Lord Nrsimhadeva. Narayana para sarve na kutaschana bhibhyati. Bhagavatam 6:17-28. Not only is a pure devotee of Narayana like Prahlāda Maharaj unafraid of any dangerous condition of material life, but also if the Lord appears in order to mitigate the fear of a devotee, the Lord maintains his status of fearlessness in all circumstances. I think Prahlāda Maharaj was, Prabhupada was an example of that. He was so unafraid. Even in his advanced age, he went on a cargo ship and he had sustained 3 heart attacks. And even when he went there, he wasn't afraid of all the austerities that he had to go through. So I'm just thinking like Prabhupada is like a best example of somebody who was unafraid of anything.
Well, his name was Abhacharana.
Oh, yeah.
That was his initiated name, and it was also his name as a baby, before initiation, Abhay, and then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said Abhacharana Ravinda.
Wow, that's perfect. Abhay is always fearless. Ravanga Mataji is also quite a fearless person. ¿Hay algo, madre, hay algo de decir de esta cualidad de no tener miedo? Usted puede hablar en español. Podemos traducir.
Bueno, mi experiencia es que Krishna es muy misericordioso y nos permite dejar de sentir miedo muchas veces cuando pensamos que primero tenemos que hablar las cosas como deben de ser, ¿no? Y de esa manera refugiarnos también en esa promesa que nos da Krishna de protección y de que tenemos que hablar en la mayoría de lo posible, porque no a veces con los devotos no es posible ser como muy, aunque debería de ser al contrario, pero a veces los devotos se sienten ofendidos cuando se hablan las cosas muy directamente, muy claramente, te ofenden y te rechazan, ¿no? Así como, no, ella no es muy dulce, ¿no? Pero yo creo que no hay otro camino, es lo que puedo decir.
So she's making a point how sometimes we speak the truth and some people don't like it and they may reject us or they may just get rid of us because they cannot handle the truth, but there's no other way than to speak up fearlessly. There's no other way actually. I mean, Prahlāda did that, right? Prahlāda did exactly like that. He spoke the truth to Hiranyakashipu, and then of course everything happened because of that. But you know, I have observation that those people who cannot accept the truth, it could be reasons such as insecurity. They have their own, deep fears. It may be lack of faith. So I guess we need to have compassion for those people who are in denial. Muchas personas que no pueden aceptar la verdad es porque ellos tienen miedo dentro, inseguridad, y tal vez no tienen mucho fe en el Krishna. Entonces debemos entender que no son malos, pero son débil, I forget the word, it's weak, no, they're weak. So, like, algunas veces, ¿no? Las personas como Hiranyakashipu tenía esta actitud de, like, compensate. Hiranyakashipu was so insecure, so he would compensate his, like, how can Prahlāda not chant my names? Oh, Vishnu. So he was so insecure inside that he would be aggressive on the outside, kill him, put him under the fire, put him from the mountain. So like that, sometimes devotees may reject us, throw us out. It's not because we are bad or wrong. It's just because they are weak. They cannot handle, they don't want truth. They want to be in denial. So, denial, ¿cómo se dice en español?
Negación.
Negación, exactly. Sí, hay mucho de esto. There's so much negation of reality. Pero when we have faith, then we don't take that rejection personally. We understand that sad for them. They don't accept us because maybe sometimes they're not ready. Yeah. Okay, next. Prahlādam preshayam asa brahmavasthitamantike tata prashammayopehi swapitre kupitam prabhum. Thereafter, Lord Brahma requested Prahlāda Maharaj, who was standing very near him, "My dear son, Lord Narasimhadeva is extremely angry at your demoniac father. Please go forward and appease the Lord." I have a question at this point. I mean, Narasimha knows that this is Jaya Vijaya and Hiranyakashipu is already dead. Why is the Lord still angry? And I don't understand. Once the end is done, even if the Virya Rasa is there, what's the point of the anger?
See, the point is, it's like, okay, this Hiranyaka, first, okay, two points. The first is that he came to be angry. He came to fight. Okay, so he's in that mood. He knows his jive with jive, just like Damodar knows this is Yashoda Devi and she loves me. That we sing nowadays. But he's actually very afraid. So Nishingadeva is actually very angry. Now, in human psychology, anger is always a secondary emotion. It's not just anger like this. There is anger because there is, say, for instance, a girl goes out in the evening and then she comes much later than what she had agreed to. Say she was supposed to be at home at 8, she comes at 10:30 at night, and the mother is very angry. Now, that anger is a secondary thing because she was afraid, she was fearful. Where is my daughter? What happened to her? Whom is she with? So because of experiencing the fear, which is based on attachment, which is based on love, then the anger comes. So the anger is an expression of love. He loves Prahlāda, and Prahlāda is being tortured by this crazy demon. He played the part of a crazy demon perfectly, and so he's angry. Now, it's not that when you say, okay, there is a person who has tortured your family and then he gets killed. Okay, now I'm peaceful. It's finished. It's killed. No, it's still angry. I mean, there is hatred is proportional to the love, to the level of love. So because he has so much love for Prahlāda, which he manifested by doing things which are completely supernatural. They were trying to cut him with big sword and nothing happened, and so many other ways, the poison, the throwing from a mountain and all that. And he personally intervened all the time, just beyond to kind of beyond the modes of nature, beyond the laws of nature, of physics, and so on. So he has a lot of love. So now, out of, you could say, Yogamaya, he wants to enjoy this. He wants to enjoy this anger, and so it's because anger is also something very energizing. So it would be kind of artificial. Okay, he's killed, finished. No, but plus there is this pastime. Even Lakshmi Devi, Srila Prabhupada say, inspired by Lila Shakti. Again, another way of saying Yoga Maya. No, she is afraid. So yeah, I mean, I don't see. I don't see the incompatibility. Yeah, the guy is dead, but he was so angry that he's still angry. It just does not become just peaceful.
Yeah, there's a Vaishnavacharya bhajan. Purandaradasa, he says, he compares now the mood of Radharani and mood of Krishna, especially Nrsimhadev and Lakshmi Devi, and he says, Kamaladangi Komalangi Sundarabja Vadane Nino Ramana Matsya Katina Kaya Sutarasyanu Ramaniya Swarupini no Amita Ghora Rupanavanu Nami Parishta Dani Nino Danava Beduva Vanige Volideyata Kam Lakumi Vasudevage. He's comparing how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is taken like Ghora, Amita Ghora Rupa, like such a fearsome form of the Lord. And Lakshmi Devi is so delicate and so beautiful and so cute and so tender. So she's not able to approach Nrsimhadev because he has that mood. And then he compares also to Vamanadev incarnation. He says like Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He came to ask Dana, means he came to ask Bali Maharaj for 3 foot of land, like as if, like, please give me 3 foot. He's the owner of the whole world, and he still came. But so and Lakshmi Devi is always giving charity. And here Krishna is asking charity. So he compares the rasas. Theologically, Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He has everything. He's never afraid. But on the rasa level, he does get scared of Mother Yashoda. He does get angry with Hiranyakashipu. He does go and ask Bali Maharaj for some charity. So there is 2 aspects of rasa and then tattva. Yeah. I mean, I have a question regarding something not related to what we're reading, but it's Bhagavatam. Because in the morning classes, we're studying Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj is a Shaktavesha avatar of Krishna, right? And he also becomes angry with Indra because Indra tried to stop he was stealing all these horses, right? And then he becomes a little bit grudgeful. So my question is that also I have this question in my head, like, how could Prithu Maharaj become angry? Why did Prithu Maharaj feel disappointed? Because Prithu was not doing anything wrong. He only wanted... Yeah, Prithu was not doing anything wrong by doing the yagyas. That 100 yagyas.
So who becomes angry?
Prithu becomes angry.
So, what's wrong?
Yeah, like, because he becomes angry because he's thinking, I'm only doing this yagyas to protect my people. And now Indra is stopping it. And Vishnu is also coming and telling him, don't do it. So Prithu is having so many doubts. Like, I'm only trying to do my duty. Why I am stopped? And then Vishnu tells him, you need to take care of your citizens, be careful, preaching, all the preaching happens. My question is...
Well, first, I mean, okay, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. 2 sides of questions. One, why Vishnu didn't want him to perform the 100th sacrifice? Why? And second, why did, if Vishnu didn't want and Prithu is Shaktavesha avatar, then why did he become upset or angry? So these 2 side of questions I have.
Okay, let's start from the second. See, Kshatriya means becoming angry. So Kshatriya means protecting people from harm. That's the meaning of kshatriya, protecting people from harm. So part of protecting people from harm means to fix what's wrong. So that's not the first time he becomes angry. First of all, as soon as he becomes a king, he becomes angry with the earth. And he's ready to kill this earth in the form of a cow. And he's ready to kill her and just say, because he finalized, he understood that the citizens were not lazy, but the earth was not giving enough food. So then King Prithu told the earth in the form of a cow, look, either you give the herbs, you give the vegetables profusely, or I'll kill you. And I'll chop you into so many little pieces, and I'll give that to my citizens too. That's pretty anger. And in fact, it flies around. So to try to catch her, then she runs away, and so on. Of course, he catches her. So then there is this anger. Of course, I mean, you're doing a sacrifice, and this somebody comes, steals the horse. It's like, say, you're in book distribution, somebody steals the books. Then how do you feel? You feel very angry. Give me back my books. Okay. So I don't see the problem. That's part of being Kshatriya. Why? Lord Rama doesn't become angry. He's a king. King must become angry. Otherwise, they can't do their duty. Isn't said in Bhagavatam that Rama was so angry that the whole ocean started boiling? He was so angry. Imagine, started boiling the ocean with his anger, right? Okay, so anger, I don't see any problem. Why not under
anger even after Vishnu tells him that he doesn't want the 100
No, see, that's another point. You are referring to Krishna Dharma, whom I appreciate very much, edition. You're not presenting the Bhagavatam, because in the Bhagavatam, I don't remember, I read recently, but I don't remember saying anything like that. In fact, when Vishnu appears, he immediately accepts. So
doesn't he internally feel a little bit?
There is nothing like that in the Bhagavatam. I don't remember seeing anything like that in the Bhagavatam. We could check.
Then it's this version, Krishna Dharma Prabhu.
You need to check. When you are in doubt, you need to check, because sometimes people can be a little bit carried away. I don't know what he writes, so I'm just saying in general. But look, if you want, I can read right now.
Anyway, just a couple of times he mentions that externally Prithu was accepting, but internally he was still fighting the idea, wondering why, like that.
I don't see that. I just don't see that. In fact, see, he says this
was Indra.
Can we do one thing at a time, please? So here it says, when the Lord spoke, he says, one who does not possess, that is the Lord speaking, one who does not possess elevated qualities and behavior cannot possibly achieve my favor simply by performance of sacrifices, severe austerity, or mystic yoga. Okay? Then
we read all that today in the morning.
Okay, so basically say, okay, so you're asking, why not 100? Because it's not a problem. He's already pure devotee. He's a Shakti Vaishavatara. The Lord, in this case, is happy like this. And it looks like almost taking side of Indra, but Indra is very ashamed. So as King Indra was standing by, he became ashamed of his own activity and fell down before King Prithu to touch his lotus feet. But Prithu Maharaj immediately embraced him in great ecstasy and gave up all envy against him for his having stolen the horse meant for the sacrifice. So in this case, it's immediate. The Lord said, don't worry, no, move on. Don't who cares about 100? It's just in one sense, it's like a number. I mean, it's like in one sense, like in cricket. If you do a 99 runs or a century, what's the difference? In one sense, you follow what I'm saying? It's just a mental thing. In cricket, I'm sure all cricketers in the world would rather sign up to do 99 runs every match than do some centuries here and there. Do you understand what I'm saying from the cricket point of view? So with a cricket analogy, Maharaj Prithu didn't need this century. And he didn't need this. And for what? It's like, he's already the biggest cricketer. One says you don't need 100 every time. So, and immediately, look, King Prithu abundantly worshipped the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God that was so merciful to him. And then it says, and then the original King Maharaj Prithu, his eyes full of tears and his voice faltering and choked up, could neither see the Lord very distinctly, nor speak to address the Lord in any way. He simply embraced the Lord within his heart and remained standing that way with folded hands. So here you don't see somebody struggling. I mean, that picture of him struggling, you don't see it. That's why when I heard it, I felt a little bit surprised because I don't see that. There is no such thing.
But before Vishnu appears, he is angry, right, with Indra?
Of course, he's doing a sacrifice, and Indra comes and he steals the horse. Of course, why? It's a religious thing. That's part of the devotional service as a king. They do this thing. For us, it's hard to know what does it mean. Okay, this Ashwamedha and all those priests. What does it mean exactly? How it pleases the Lord? From our perspective, maybe a little hard to understand. But imagine you're doing an artik and somebody comes and takes the giwits away or takes the chamar away. How do you feel? It's a kind of the same thing. It's the same service. It's the same devotional service, like Shravanam, Kirtan, Vishnu Smarana, and so on. You're doing archana. Somebody comes and steals the bell, and somebody comes and takes out the water. You're doing Guru Puja. Somebody comes, takes out the flowers. How would you feel?
Yeah.
So this Indra comes and stops. Not only that, he dresses as a sannyasi, introduces crazy ideas, and so on. In fact, the sages tell Vijitashva, the son, they tell, kill this Indra. They really say, kill this Indra, kill him. So the sages were also encouraging. Look, these are very different cultural and philosophical situation, which are hard for us to understand because that's not our devotional service. We don't do yagyas. I mean, occasionally we do, but that's not our service. Imagine somebody comes and steals the japa. We are chanting and somebody takes the japa away, or imagine takes the deity away. Can you imagine? You're doing the puja and somebody takes Shrimati Radharani away from the altar. How would you feel? You'll feel completely angry. So obviously the horse was not, but so and everybody was angry. Prithu was angry, the son was angry, the sages was angry, everybody was angry because it was just outrageous. You can't do that.
Why then did Vishnu comply with Indra's?
Because there are priorities. One principle is that Indra is the chief. It's the boss in the Svarga Loka, and he's so disturbed, and let it be 99. So it's like there is a higher principle. So it seems that Vishnu is establishing a higher principle. It's just not numbers. It's just not numbers. That I'm captured by numbers. I'm captured by devotion. I'm captured. I'm pleased anyway. I'm pleased. So the goal is to please. The goal is to please. So I'm pleased. Give it up.
Okay.
And so I'm pleased. Give it up. It's just like, you're serving Prahlāda. You give 2 chapati, 3 chapati. Then you say, no, but I wanted to give 10 chapati because 10 sounds more better than 9. Or if you go with this, if we go with this analogy, 100 chapati. I want to serve 100 chapatis. But the people say, no, it's enough. We all took enough. You serve 99 chapatis. We are happy. Don't force us to take another one. It's okay. But if somebody comes while you're serving and he steals the chapati, then of course you're angry.
Yeah.
Okay? But,
Yeah.
but this thing of holding grudge, it's the first time I hear this thing.
Yeah, I think he kind of makes it realistic and says that internally he was little unsettled. And then I think it's also addition. He says when Indra paid obeisances and apologized to Prithu embraced Indra and also apologized back. He said, I'm sorry I was angry with you, like that. I don't think that's in Bhagavatam. I don't know.
There's no such thing. There is no mention. I'm reading the verse. Indra fell down before King Prithu to touch his lotus feet, but Prithu Maharaj immediately embraced him in great ecstasy and gave up all envy against him.
So means he had envy against him.
Envy, see, Srila Prabhupada used, this is another thing. Srila Prabhupada used the word envy in different ways. So, vidvesham, he used as envy. He uses envy in not always the same way. Vidvesham doesn't sound, let me check the Sanskrit. It sounds more like enmity, right?
Dvesha is the word for enmity.
Yeah, so let me check.
It's not envy. I think it means enmity.
Yeah, so Srila Prabhupada sometime, from what I can see, use envy for enmity. Vidvesha. Let me see. Vidvesha, dislike, contempt, aversion, hatred. So it's like, it looks like Dvesha, but Vidvesha, very strong Dvesha, right? So
it means he had enmity. Prithu had enmity, obviously.
Of course, obviously, you come and steal the horse. Well, obviously, there is an enmity, but no, it's not envy in the usual sense of the word. In other words, he was not envious of Indra. Oh, he's Indra. I want to become Indra. He couldn't care less of becoming Indra. He has a service as a Shakti Vishavatara, and he's doing his duty. That's all. But Indra is projecting because he's so attached. His sense of identity is so wrapped up in being Indra. He can't see himself not being Indra. Prithu could care less of becoming Indra. But Indra projected his own fear and thought, oh, he will become Indra. No. But Prithu Maharaj couldn't care less. And so then, yeah, there is no apology whatsoever. And he gave up they gave up, Srila Prabhupada translate envy, but he gave up the aversion, the enmity, the animosity, we could say. I would translate like animosity, the animosity. In other words, okay, it's done, finish. Okay, let's embrace.
Yeah, one thing I learned is, correct me if I'm wrong. So the higher principle is that Krishna came to tell Prithu Maharaj, you don't need to do the 100 sacrifice. I'm already pleased with you and your nature and character. And it appears like Indra won, or Indra's efforts to stop Prithu was successful. It appears like that externally. But the internal goal of Vishnu was to show that each person gets what they want. Prithu wanted pure devotional service and he wanted highest devotion and he got that. Indra wanted his position to be secured and he got that. Can I conclude like that? Can that be an answer for my students? Because they are somebody.
It's not a rule. it's not a rule that everybody gets what they want. It's not a rule. Sometimes people don't get what they want.
No, I'm saying in this situation, like Indra wanted.
No, I mean, the point is that Prithu Maharaj comes out glorious and Indra comes out miserable. Just like with Vritasura in sixth canto. Indra kills Vritasura, but at the end, Vritasura goes to the spiritual world, and Indra has to fight. He has to go and hide in Manava Sarovar for 1,000 years in that stem, was starving to death because Agni was bringing some oblation of the yagya, but Agni didn't like to go inside the water, so Indra was starved. So you could see very graphic picture of misery. There was this scene personified coming as a very, very old lady, vomiting blood, all nasty, saying to Indra, stop, stop, stop. So Vritasura is gone, you know. He brought the whole thing to a closure, is gone, is with Vishnu, happy in the spiritual world, and Indra is running away from a tuberculosis patient who's running after him, and he stays in the water for 1,000 years. In fact, somebody else becomes Indra. They put Nausha, and Nausha starts hitting on Indra's wife. So imagine the misery. Imagine the misery. So it's not a victory. Technically it's a victory because Indra got this thunderbolt and he killed Brita, but it's not a victory at all. So here you can see the Bhagavatam uses this expression. He was standing ashamed.
Yeah.
Let's see the word ashamed in vriditam. Vriditam. So vriditam. Vriditam.
Old, no? Vriddha means old, no?
Huh?
Vriddha means old, no?
No, but it's a different D. Okay, let me see. A shame.
Very good points.
Shame. Lajja, vridavat, shameful. So, vrida, let me see, just vrida. Yeah, see, vridavat means shameful. Vridana, depression. Vrida, modesty. Vrida is shame, bashfulness. So, obviously, he wasn't feeling like a victor. He was feeling like a failure.
Okay. Yeah, this is very powerful. Somehow, you know why in today's world, somebody is a GBC, somebody is a temple president, somebody has power, somebody has position. We tend to think that they are favored by the Lord, but it's not necessarily like that. Somebody may get kicked out, somebody may get banned, but that doesn't mean that they are, I'm just saying, not always. It's not that they are favored by the Lord because they are in position.
Not necessarily, but Indra is favored by the Lord, but favor doesn't mean that the Lord is pleased with him, how he acted. Just like,
Right.
So you may be pleased in general with somebody, but just like Srila Prabhupada, he loved his disciples and he appreciated them, some of them, to make them GBCs. Okay, that means real appreciation, real favor. Favor not because he's giving a position, but favor because he trusted. He trusted this man to be a GBC. Okay, but then sometimes he bashed them. At one point, he just wrote to all the temple presidents and said, "Don't listen to your GBC anymore," because the GBC made an unauthorized meeting. They didn't even inform all the other GBCs. They just wanted to have a quorum. Say they were, for instance, I don't know exactly, but say 15, okay? So they just wanted the majority. So they invited 8 GBC. They didn't even inform the rest of the GBC. And because just they want to make a decision. And Srila Prabhupada said, you cannot have a meeting like this. The decision are completely bogus. So, but yeah, he still he still favored them. No, favored them means still his disciple, but he was very, very frightened with him for what they did. But they were among the best of his disciples. It's not that he removed all of them. Like Ramakrishna Maharaj, he was very, very, very dear to Srila Prabhupada. Did an amazing austerities, amazing service, amazing dedication, and so on. At the same time, one time Srila Prabhupada was really frightened with him because he created so many, the story of the Damodar party, you read it, right? So the Damodar party is they were taking out people from the temples, and the temples were empty, and so that affected the service. At one point, they wanted to ship all the women to Australia. It was so obviously, Srila Prabhupada still loved the Ramakrishna Maharaj, but he was not necessarily happy with all his ideas. In fact, at that point, Ramakrishna Maharaj said, okay, Srila Prabhupada, what's here in my put? And say, Srila Prabhupada, I'm sorry, I really displeased you, something like that. They say, look, you send me anywhere, you send me to China, you send me anywhere. And then the next day, Srila Prabhupada said, I thought of it, yes, I'm going to send you to China. And Ramakrishna Maharaj said, no, but I was just saying like this, no, I decided you should go to China. And Ramakrishna Maharaj, demonstrating his great submission. Okay, so I just said, okay, I go, but just give me Drishtadyumna. Okay, sure, okay. So he accepted the instruction. So Indra, he falls into this kind of things, okay, but then also he shows like, okay, he goes to Vrindavan, Govinda Kund, he offers prayers to Krishna, and so on and so forth. So it's a kind of a mixed bag, but still we need to respect Indra because he was put in that position by Krishna, and Krishna is keeping him in that position. But he's not certainly Indra is not the hero of the Bhagavad. Ritu is the hero. Vritrasura is the hero. So on and so forth.
But from the materialistic point of view, it's not like that.
What does it mean, materialistic point of view?
Even as devotees, sometimes if you're removed from position or something, nobody cares about you. But as soon as you're GBC, you get VIP position and your red carpet and
actually in many cases the opposite. As soon as you become GBC, everybody starts criticizing you. Everybody starts, Lavanga knows very well. Lavanga Mataji, she's still there. Let me see.
Yeah, she's here.
As soon as you become GBC, everybody, like Guru Prasad Maharaj, okay? If Guru Prasad Maharaj was simply a guru in Mexico, nobody will have any problem with him. Right? Lavanga, Prabhu, ¿está siguiendo en inglés? Okay. If Guru Prasad Maharaj is only guru, Diksha Guru, preacher, sannyasi, is very sadhu, is very absorbed, nobody has a problem with him. But because he's a GBC, so many people have problem with him. You follow? So it's not true that, oh, you become GBC, your life becomes full of roses and flowers. No, because it's GBC, some people say, hey, you should support me because I'm right. The other guy says, no, you should support me because I'm right. The other guy says, no, you should kick out this temple president. And I know what I'm talking about. Okay, I may not give so many details, but I know because I was a member of the Latin RGB till April. And these other guys feel, hey, Maharaj, you should remove this temple president. You know what he did 15 years ago with this girl. You know what he did. You should remove him. Why you don't remove him? You are so bad. You're not removing him. And Guru Prasad Maharaj says, no, but no, I don't have anybody else. These people say remove the TP, but they don't want to become TPs. You follow? Or they're totally unqualified. So position, you know, there is a very nice, I'll get it. I'll get it because it's very nice. Give me 1 minute. You can say something else. I had the same experience. I was the GBC special duty officer, but was the function of a GBC in Brazil. And without being GBC, I don't think anybody ever had any problem with me in Brazil. Because, you know, compared to us, I've been 10 times to Brazil, no GBC, and nobody ever had any problem with me. I'll teach Bhakti Vriksha, I'll speak something. We went together, you remember? Nobody had any problem with us, right? But when I became GBC, meaning working as GBC representative, basically many people were angry with me because you had to take a stand on what you see is not proper, and some people were very angry with me. Twice I was threatened to go to court against me.
Are you saying that the position of Indra is a position, right? So that is what actually gets him into trouble, right? He's afraid of his service being perturbed, disturbed, and therefore he acts.
No, I didn't say that. I was just addressing the fact that you say that as soon as you become a GBC, you get a red carpet. It's not true. It's just not true. As soon as you become GBC, everybody starts criticizing you. And sometimes maybe they may also be right. I'm not saying they're always not right. But if you are not a GBC, it's more unlikely that they criticize you, because, you know, you go there, you preach Krishna consciousness, okay, you have some disciples, nobody is upset with you. But if you are GBC, people demand from you things, people demand that you are always there, everywhere, simultaneously in all the places. Why didn't he come? Why this? Why that? So I want to share this picture because it's it's like that. Look. See what leadership looks like. It looks like you are on top of a great pyramid, that you are the top, dominating everybody. But what leadership feels like, you are in the middle, surrounded by all sorts of people putting pressure on you. And of course, we're talking, maybe Indra and Svargaloka is different. It doesn't have oppositions, doesn't have people coming there, say, oh, Indra. But in the material world, if you're a GBC, if you're a temple president, Lavanga, you have been temple president, right?
Hola, no, presidente del templo no, fui secretaria nacional.
Oh, also manager, no? You're a manager of Spiritual Sky.
Sí.
So you have experience.
Ahora ya no se está manejando el Spiritual Sky. Ya.
Yeah, but you had the experience of management.
Sí.
So you can see it is like that, right? It's not that you're just on top and you order, you do this, you do that.
Estoy totalmente de acuerdo con la imagen.
It's like that, especially in Kali Yuga. You follow, especially in Kali Yuga, because there is constant conflict.
Lo increíble es que también te crean muchas historias falsas. Mucho.
Yes, allegations.
Demasiadas alegaciones. Yo fui demandada, estuve en la corte por un devoto que incluso mintió ante el juez para que yo pudiera recibir un castigo que no era, que no tenía soporte legal. Entonces, puede llegar a un extremo impresionante la necesidad que tienen algunas personas de hacerte sufrir por estar en una posición que ellos quisieran tener. Yo no sé si esto es envidia, no sé el nombre que puedo dar, pero me ayudó mucho a entender muchas cosas, eso sí.
Yeah.
Bien. Eso es todo lo que puedo decir por ahora, pero totalmente de acuerdo con usted, Prabhuji.
But it's a fact in some place, of course, Mexico, the West in general is a special, it's a little dip. In India, it's a fact. No, because Sri Radha Govinda Dasi, what she said is also true to some extent. In India, you're president or okay, you're GBC, you do get a special privileges, special facilities. There, it's a different culture. It's much more consensual, meaning it's much more agreeable to the boss. Whoever is the boss, people they're more what do you call? They tend to be more obedient. Plus, in India, sometimes temple presidents and other leaders do get practical privileges. No, they have money, they can move around, and no, so both things are true, but especially GBC, don't think you get the red carpet. You may get in some place, yes, okay, the GBC comes, but if the GBC disagrees with you, I mean, if you disagree with the GBC, even in India, there are many people who disagree with the GBC and they criticize and they. Japta Kamaraj, I heard him personally say, no, he wrote, maybe I shouldn't say, but because it was some survey. But let's say in a general way, he was perceiving this issue that even Guru sometimes, some senior disciples don't listen. I mean, look at Madhu Pandit. Madhu Pandit is a disciple of Japta Maharaj, and he stole the temple, he became a Ritvik. He didn't care what the Guru taught. Yes, you have the hand up, Lavanga Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Creo que la mayoría de las personas no entienden la posición que implica asumir responsabilidades, que es acerca de toma de decisiones. Y esa toma de decisiones no puede satisfacer a todos, ¿verdad? Entonces, aquí la cuestión es que mucha gente no entiende eso. Es como que creen que precisamente por tener la posición tienes la facilidad de hacer que todos hagan lo que tú quieres o lo que tú dices, y es a veces todo lo contrario. Es una posición en la que todos critican, y eso es tremendo, todos están criticando las decisiones que estás tomando, pero nadie en algún momento está apoyando la decisión que estás tomando. Y eso es bastante complicado en una posición de liderazgo.
And thank you. It's also what Vishnu is doing is this. I set this up, that Indra, whoever is Indra is the chief of Svargaloka, which again is kind of hard for us to visualize. What does it mean politically, administratively? What does it mean? Is the kind of top demigod, below Brahma and Shiva, but like Indra. So this is the system that Krishna established. It's not going to change the old system. It's like, okay, monarchy, now democracy, now oligarchy, now parliament with 300 people, parliament with 200 people, like we see every day, right? Or this party up, that party up. We see it in Mexico, we see everywhere, we see it in Italy, we see it in India, no? The parties join to get power. It's not like that. So Krishna established, okay, Indra is there, okay, he remains there. he gets humiliated. In this case, he gets humiliated. He wants to touch the feet of Prithu. Prithu said, no, come on. But I don't see any resentment.
Mm.
And one thing, Urmila Devi recently shared one article by a pastor, Christian pastor, and he explained why he stepped down to be a pastor. And he says similar things. He said that whatever he says, some people are angry, especially now in America. The church is very much politicized. Many are like with Trump, many don't like Trump. So anything you say as a pastor, there is some people who completely are against you. If you say something. So he gives many reasons, the stress and the this and the that. But he also said that, look, it's like these people were my friends, became my enemies. And he looked like, a reasonable guy, intellectual guy. He was not like a dictator or anything. He's a pastor. He's a parish priest. What we call in Catholics is parish priest. He just runs a church. But at one point, he said, forget it, finish. I don't want this anymore. I'm just trying to serve you the community, and everybody is angry, either for this or for that. If I say this, these people are angry. If I say that, these people are angry. It becomes like a completely political thing. I didn't sign up for that. I didn't become a priest for that. I became a priest to preach the word of Jesus, help people. No, I didn't come for that. Otherwise, I'll become a politician. Or anyway, so thank you for your points, Shirada Govinda Dasi, because they brought up so many things. So our time is up. You want to say something? No? So we stop here. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Abre el micrófono. Espero que convoquen al programa nuevamente. Estaremos atentas, Mirabai. Aquí está Mirabai.